film.
Xero news on the rise, bringing wrestling to our eyes. WWE, AW in the spotlight, never telling us a lie. Accurate in every report, fans cheering into light. Xero news, our guiding light in the wrestling fight. Covering the ring with precision, no indecision. Xero news, stars are true, bringing wrestling updates, never uncouth. In the world of WWE and AEW, Xero news shines through.
Yes, hello, welcome to the EVP Xero show again for another week. Thank you for tuning in yet again. I'm Xero as normal, and I'm joined by the EVP CJP. How are we today, CJ?
What's going on, everyone? I am the EVP of the main event show and DKO. Glad to be here. It's episode 3. Yeah, we've been killing it the last 2 weeks, and let's keep this momentum going and look forward to what we got going tonight.
Yeah. I will say as well, any comments or whatever we will get to near the end. There's a lot of news to cover today, so mainly this show today will be news. And if we get a little bit of time at the end, we will be, I might do a little bit of a question and answer session if I get a chance to. So if you do have any questions, drop them in the comments and I will try and get them answered. If I can't, I will try and contact you somehow, quite simply. Right, so let's get started then with this one. So some of the news that's come down then. So obviously this week we've had the big news about Pat McAfee and everything that's gone on there. Sorry, not Pat McAfee, Corey Graves. I was reading Pat McAfee as well. It all started off with this tweet that was sent down, which was from Corey, which said, imagine chasing your dreams, then being told, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you're wondering where I've been. That seemed obviously like he was pretty annoyed with that, with things. And that was obviously shortly followed up by this tweet, which was, I've got a lot to say, don't miss NXT tonight. Now, after that, he was actually pulled from NXT. What do you personally think? Because there's a lot of rumors going around it's work. There's a lot of rumors going around it's a shoot and everything like that. So what do you think about the whole Corey Graves situation? Do you think it's a work? Do you think it's a shoot? What do you think about it and stuff? And if people want to sound off in the comments as well, put in the comments and I might display some if there's any on there. But yeah.
You know, at first I really thought, like, you know, what I found out, you know, he had been cleared to wrestle a while back, and I know he had interest in that at one time. But he's he's creme of the creme when it comes to announcers. So, for me, if I was reading it just just casually, I would think, okay, well, he's upset, about the demotion. Obviously, bringing Pat in, and Joe Tessitore, and then Wade Barrett on SmackDown, which I don't think Wade is better than Corey. But the more I think about it, the way WWE is with these crazy matches that they try to do at Mania with these like either Hollywood stars or like Snoop Dogg, at 39 with the Miz. I mean, it possibly could be a work to maybe set something up with Corey Graves and Pat McAfee. I don't know. It's really hard to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people claim it's work. A lot of people are saying that one. That's it's still it's. I don't personally know. I don't know what's happening with it. Whether it is a work, whether it is whatever it. Well, whether it is a shoot. Obviously, one of the quite interesting things that's come down today now is after all these issues with Corey Graves, it's actually come down today now to turn around and say that Pat McAfee is actually going to be missing this Monday Night Raw coming up. So at this moment in time, it's just Michael Cole on commentary. This is to do with, it says it's the College Football Playoff National Championship at 7:45, in which Pat McAfee is there for that. So obviously, then that means then are they going to bring Corey back in for that one? Do you reckon like they might bring Wade or something over? Because I can't see them doing Joe and I can't see them having two play-by-plays on there. So obviously having Michael and Joe on the same show. So if anything, now they'll have to bring Wade up from SmackDown to be able to do it for Raw for a little bit, or they bring Corey back in. That's the only way which I can really see it for Monday. And if he like comes in and just pretends that nothing's gone on, then we've got we've got a bit of a problem there really on our hands, because they either need to address it or they need to like not have Corey on TV for a little bit. In my eyes, I don't know what you think about that. Really,
I mean, if they do bring Corey back Monday, like I said, if this is a work with Pat being gone for the Ohio State Notre Dame college football national championship Monday, I feel like I said earlier, maybe Corey starts throwing some jabs at Pat. I don't know, like
yeah.
I just have a really funny feeling that maybe they are trying to set up some kind of crazy Corey Graves Pat, because Pat likes to get into action. Like he got stunned by Stone Cold. He had a match.
Yeah.
Like I can
Yeah.
see it. I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's all those possibilities there, isn't there? So that's the first bit. Second bit of news in that's come down recently, then this is the older stuff before today, is it's now come down about Odyssey Jones. So this was done by Post Wrestling, but it says court records indicate former WWE wrestler Odyssey Jones, real name Amari Palmer, was granted an order of protection against his former partner in September 2024, shortly after reports emerged of his release. So that obviously says to me that he was, that he's innocent basically in it all. Especially if he's got an order of protection against the person who was accusing him of everything that's gone on. There's obviously something gone on there, and I think I seen something else come down earlier where she's still going for him. She's still trying to accuse him of everything, even though he's got this like protection order and stuff. She's still going for him and still trying to claim all the stuff still. So I don't know, like, what do you think about sort of all the Odyssey Jones stuff, and do you think he's innocent? Do you think, what really do you
that's a difficult situation to talk about, because obviously we really don't know the 100% truth behind all of that, but even though he was granted a protection order, that 100% doesn't mean that he's innocent, because I know, like in certain states, you know, two people can both get a protection order against each other, whether the female or the male is innocent. So I, it's really tough to say. I hope he is, obviously, for him. But the protection order for me, because you know that doesn't solidify innocence, because in the state of in the law, you can, if you have proper terms, like if she's harassing him on the phone or texting him or DMing him on social media, he has grounds to get some sort of protection order. So a protection order doesn't always necessarily mean innocence.
No, that's granted. Obviously, it's different over here, so I obviously didn't know what it was like over there. But obviously, over here, it's really different and stuff, and we don't actually have like protection orders or anything like that over here. I can see in some of the comments, obviously, Molly, hello, Molly. She turned around and said this could also be his way of getting out of it. So it's, it could be true that way as well, can it, from that one, which is fair enough. Now, for some other news, obviously, that's sort of relatively sort of still old, but kind of still relatively new, is I think we need to talk about Penta, really. Obviously, he made his debut on this week's Monday Night Raw. It was actually really good. He surprised me. Obviously, I've seen a few of the bits and pieces that he's done in like AEW and that. Not admitting I watch AEW, but I don't. I've literally just that's I've seen some of the things in that, like some of the highlights and stuff before he came into WWE. He is good. He did surprise me and everything as well, to how good he actually was. What did you think about the match anyway? And like obviously Penta's debut and stuff like that, really.
Penta's great. Obviously trio champion in AEW. Probably one of the best tag team champions with Ray Phoenix. It's crazy though, because in the Lucha Underground, like he actually had a match against Chelsea Green, who was under a different name at that time. But I think the match went really well. It showcased his talent. He was also a TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So the guy's phenomenal, luchador. I think WWE got just a sneak peek of what he can do. I liked his promo as well. The only thing I didn't really like was he also had a match against Io Sky and Lucha too. Driptologist said that. But the thing I didn't like was I read that there was a lot of superstars in the back that were complaining that he went way too far over, that cut into their time. I mean, this guy's debuting. Like, they got to get over it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that was actually going to be something I was going to bring up. I think this is the correct one. I've got so many reports on it. Yeah, it was. So this actually came down from WrestleVotes today on their backstage pass. So it says Penta was actually extremely well received backstage prior to his WWE debut. There was no heat on Penta following the length of his match and promo. At least two superstars have indicated interest to creative and Penta to work with him.
Oh, cool.
So obviously, WrestleVotes has said that today. Now, so the thing is now is it's which one do people believe? Is it WrestleVotes that people go ahead and believe? Because obviously PW Insider turned around and stated literally on the day of Raw that there was that backstage animosity. There was, all these superstars now hating on him and stuff like that for going over, and they didn't like the fact for it and stuff. But the thing was though, and this is what I found quite funny, is obviously everyone was saying, oh, he went over his time and stuff like that, and they caused some other bits and pieces to like get cut. The show finished half hour early. How can things get cut when your show finishes 30 minutes earlier than the 3 hours? I understand, there isn't any time frames or anything like that from it, and this is the thing now, is you can't really turn around and say things got cut from the broadcast because somebody went over their time, because Netflix haven't given them a time. Netflix have allowed Raw to be, if they wanted to do a 30-minute show one week, they could do a 30-minute show. If they wanted to go 5 hours, they could go 5 hours, really. And that, obviously that would be a bit too much, but when that report came out, I literally turned around and my exact wording was, "This is bullshit." Because how can somebody go over their time when the show finished half hour early and there isn't any time restrictions anyway? So at the minute it seems to now be it's wrestle votes versus people who are inside into which one's actually which one's actually got the legit report on that one, really.
Yeah, because originally, like Mike Johnson from PW Insider was the one was in my from my understanding, he was the one that reported the backstage heat on Penta. But I really feel like I'm gonna lean more toward. I don't know. I like both of them. WrestleVotes is great. But it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for the superstar to be mad when the show was cut. I mean, 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
Well,
I think as Monty just said on that, 30 minutes after the show.
Yeah. I mean, I think there wasn't anything else that they really could have done with that show. I think WWE needs to, going forward, like dipping into this week. Obviously, we got Seth and Drew, but there isn't another match advertised. So, we got to expect sometimes to have a 2-hour show or a 2.5 hour or maybe a 3.5 hour. So, all them people complain about Penta. Penta's great, and they just need to let him do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's they've just got to get on with it, basically. And he had a really good debut and stuff, and he's it was really good, and he's quickly becoming one of my favorites, even though he's obviously only been in there for one match and stuff like that so far. But I do like him, and I think he's going to do really well in the whole sort of lucha scene on WWE, as I would put it. So there's that, really. Another couple of bits of news to get through, and then hopefully we can get on to other bits and pieces. So it was mentioned today that this was actually Nick Khan. He was on a podcast this morning, I think it was, called the Fireside Chat in Las Vegas this morning. Basically, Nick Khan himself has confirmed that Paris, France, will be getting a premium live event later this year. He hasn't confirmed what event it will be. He hasn't confirmed when, but he has confirmed that they are getting a premium live event at some point this year. So it's. I'm thinking if it's going to be anything, it's going to be the later part of the year. So you're probably looking at August, September time. So that would more than likely be they're either getting SummerSlam. No, they're not. Are they getting SummerSlam? No, have they announced SummerSlam already?
No. I don't think they're getting SummerSlam.
No, no, because SummerSlam's in New Jersey, isn't it? So they're not getting SummerSlam. So if anything, then what's normally after SummerSlam?
Wasn't September? I can't remember. I mean, I know we got Hell in a Cell or Survivor Series in November, but I don't know. Maybe
Money in the Bank. Is it that late? Is it September time normally?
I thought Money in the Bank was more like June, July.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I don't know, but
I'm not sure on that.
I don't know, but they're obviously getting something. It could be Payback. It could be something like that, basically. But Paris, France are due to have another premium live event at some point this year, later on in the year, really. Let me just check the comments, see if anyone else said anything. Yeah, no, I need to answer. No, that's in June, July. So, yes, that's fine. So that's one to keep an eye out for. They did say that last year, could be King of the Ring, couldn't it? I think, is that one? I'm trying to think now.
Yeah, King of the Ring. That's a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, it could be anything, but it's one to look out for. And I mean, WWE did actually announce that there's going to be a lot more international pay-per-views coming in, starting from this year, and we can see that where obviously Saudi Arabia have got the Royal Rumble in 2026, and they're doing this Paris France one, and we've got other ones as well coming up. So yeah, this is what people have to get used to as well. And because I know a lot of people are complaining about this, is WWE are trying to go international now, because I've seen a lot of complaints about when they've announced all these international pay-per-views. WWE are going international, so they are going to go and do all these countries for it. They again, and I've said this several times, it's TKO doing it. They are going to do what's best for them and where they can get money and stuff like that. And international markets, their crowds are a lot better than the USA crowds, I hate to say, but this is why they're going to, this is why they're coming to all these countries. Like over here, they're going to France, they're potentially going to Mexico. And obviously that's not too far away from America, but it's still another country. They're going Saudi and stuff like that. And people just have to get used to it, because it's going to be happening quite a lot. And I think come 26, 27, from some of the stuff that I'm hearing, there could be more international pay-per-views than there is American pay-per-views. Like, there is definitely going to be an international WrestleMania. WrestleMania is definitely going to be held outside of the USA at some point. SummerSlam is definitely going to be held outside the USA. Most of the big four are going to be held out. Some of the big four are going to be held out of America and stuff. We've seen it from the Royal Rumble and that. And like I said, I can see that out of 11 pay-per-views or whatever, 11, 12 pay-per-views normally a year we get. I'm going to probably say maybe 7 or 8 of them will be international come 26, 27. You're going to have a lot more of that. So it's going to mean a lot of afternoon pay-per-views for you guys or whatever, or early morning pay-per-views or whatever. But, they're going to be doing them.
Really. I mean, as content creators, like, it's really not a terrible thing to have them that early. Obviously people work, that sucks. But, Nick Khan, Triple H, Ari Emanuel, like, when they made this deal with Netflix, they not only are doing this to bring in, that crowd that people that, watched the product 5 to 10 years ago, but Triple H has made a promise for this product to go globally, whether we like it or not, and I say that all the time, in these spaces, and people, get, I hate to use the word, but they get all ruffled up. But TKO, they don't really care. They don't care. They don't care about these movements. All they care about is, I mean, how many people they can put in the seat. So, I think WrestleMania is in London next year. That's my call. I think that happens.
Because if it obviously does come over here for it, then they'll use Wembley Stadium, which is 100K. So that'll be one of their biggest WrestleManias to date, basically. 100K a WrestleMania. That'd be massive, and that's obviously if they can get Wembley Stadium for it. But
obviously, Bay Dallas shot that down. He's like, oh, you can only get 85, 90. But I mean, still, even if you can get 90,000, I mean, you can, I mean, it will be the biggest, if not the biggest crowd they could get. And I think that's why, I'm not going to get all into the match spectrum of it, but everybody knows where I'm going with this. Like, I think that's why that particular match needs to happen at a stadium like that, because you're gonna get people, way more people involved.
Well, I've just looked, and normal seating for football matches is 90,000. So you can get 90K in there for normal football matches, and that's without floor seats. So you've got to think then. Obviously, then they'll have they'll have obviously the stage and the ring and everything like that, and then they'll have a lot of floor seats. So you could potentially have up to that. It might not be a straight 100K, but normal seating is 90,000 and that. And if they have they'll have people sitting behind the stage and everything, like what they normally do. They'll open up those seats and stuff like that for it. So it's going to be between 95 to 100,000 you will have in Wembley Stadium, and that's what you can fit into there on, with floor seating and stuff. And I know when they've had concerts and stuff like that there, you can have 100,000 and stuff like that in Wembley Arena. It obviously depends how you lay the how you lay the stadium now. So it's going to be the biggest one there. A few other bits and pieces. So this has also come down today. WrestleVotes, as Savannah said, in similar fashion to last year. Sources have confirmed to us that WWE will host a WrestleMania press event on Super Bowl weekend, that being Saturday, February the 8th in New Orleans, the host city for Super Bowl 59.
New Orleans. I love it. I love the way you say
the thing
that.
is, though, is I have seen earlier on though as well is Fightful are trying to shoot this down. Now, again, this is another thing of who's been told the correct information, because this is WrestleVotes reporting one thing and then Fightful turning around and saying WWE sources are denying this. So, it's which one are we going for? Are we going for Fightful or are we going for WrestleVotes for this one? But
well,
for it.
I will say this: if they decide to go through with that, and the source information is correct, the Super Bowl is in New Orleans. Like that's my stump. Like that's my home state. New Orleans is in the top 5. One of the most dangerous cities. I mean, you know what just happened a few weeks ago before the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
They had a big shooting and all that on Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
I think you're going to bring the people in because the state of Louisiana doesn't really get besides like sports, they don't really get anything super huge like that. But also, I think they would be taking a monster risk of doing it in New Orleans because it's really dangerous there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is obviously which way do they go? Do they go and do it that way? Obviously, be a Super Bowl weekend, so they can then try and get the biggest crowds that they go for, or in the same place where Super Bowl's taking place, or not really. That's the thing, isn't it? So it kind of depends which way WWE want to go for it, but. Obviously, if it does happen, then what we need to see is we just need to see The Rock randomly show up and just slap Cody Rhodes and just go, I'll see you at WrestleMania. That's what we need. And quite interestingly, that's a week after the Royal Rumble. So obviously, depending on what happens at Royal Rumble, that's I think they're going to set up the match again there, like what they did in the last press conference for Mania 40. We're probably going to have the match up then. So officially, that means then in about 3 to 4 weeks' time, we will know the WrestleMania matches that are going to be happening. Well, they say that, but then obviously things can change. And if they do one of those stupid movements again, like what they done last time, which TKO won't allow, but people will still try it and stuff. But if they do decide to make any changes randomly in the last minute, then obviously it could change again. But officially, in 4 weeks' time, everybody will know what night 2 main event will be, because that's when it'll get set up, is probably at that press conference. So that's that. Before we go on to the biggest news of today that's dropped, there's a little bit extra. I don't actually have the screenshot from this one, so I'm going to have to read this one off. So this, again, is coming out from WrestleVotes today on their Backstage Pass. They've been dropping a lot of news today. It says there are plans for Shawn Michaels to be present and make an appearance at Saturday night main event in San Antonio, Texas on January 25th. So not only have we got Hulk Hogan there, apparently, potential Goldberg as well, we've also now got Shawn Michaels going to be there as well. So it's, I don't know how I feel about that one really. I understand it's his home state and stuff like that and that, but like, do they need him? Because obviously it's just a special. So I think this is going to be where they're going to start bringing all the legends out and stuff now, where they're not really putting them on TV normally. They're going to start bringing out all these random legends at these Saturday night main events just to try and get them on TV again, underneath their legends contracts. What do you think about HBK?
I mean, it is his home state. I respect him. I don't think he's definitely not gonna get booed. He's well liked. But Hogan, obviously I grew up a Hogan fan, but I don't condone some of the stuff or a lot of the stuff he's done after he retired, obviously, which kind of turned me against him. But he did do a lot for professional wrestling in the 80s. But I don't think Jesse Ventura will show up if Hogan's there. They can't stand each other. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a terrible idea to bring Michaels in, but it's Saturday night's main event, so they're trying to make it more about nostalgia. And also I see a comment down there, and you just literally said something about Xero. This Roman Reigns rock movement is already started. It's everywhere. So it's a repeat of Cody from last year. So
yeah, but we ain't gonna get it. I can guarantee you now, we ain't gonna get it, no matter how much people cry and want it. But that's that. So yeah, so that was that bit. Now, some major news dropped today. This has been in the works for ages, and I will say that this was actually originally dropped back. Well, I dropped a little bit of this back in July in the Discord, but today it has actually been made official. This is the post from TNA. So, breaking news: WWE and TNA announced today a multi-year partnership aimed at creating unprecedented crossover opportunities within WWE and TNA programming for NXT and TNA stars. Basically, I do believe it's 2 to 3 years. It will basically just mean that now, to be able to get more TV time, NXT stars will be on TNA and TNA stars will be on NXT. Basically, that's how it's going to work. It's to get more TV time. It's to create all these matchups and stuff that people want. And I mean, you could end up doing like a sort of mini Survivor Series thing where you have champion versus champion, and that like you could have the TNA champion versus the NXT champion at the time, and that'd be really good and stuff. So this is big moves for TNA, and I know they've obviously partnered up beforehand with AEW, but partnering up with WWE and especially NXT the way NXT is at the moment, this partnership is going to blow up. And that big time it's going to elevate TNA up big time. Their numbers are going to go up. I can see they're going to have quite a lot of. There's going to be a hell of a lot of interest, and that it's going to be good. I don't know who's coming over. I don't know when it started off. Well, I think it's believed it's already started off now. Basically,
I think so, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's one of the best moves that they could have made. Obviously, with NXT, some of the people are going to have to get called up to the main roster to supplement these shows. But man, we're going to get to see Joe Henry probably at the Rumble. What about a Jeff and Matt Hardy against Axiom and Frazier? We're going to get to see matches that Nick Nemeth. He's a former WWE guy, so we can see Julia against was it Masha, title for title. There's so many different outcomes of this thing. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's going to be really good for both companies involved, and it's going to create some of those big moments. Obviously, it just means now that we've got to start watching wrestling now on a Thursday night as well for TNA, because you never know when they're going to show up. And the thing is, as well, is TNA, obviously, they've got pre-filming. So some of it, obviously, people will know when they're showing up because, you'll have the leaks and stuff like that from the actual tape-ins. Mm-hmm. But then, for example, their pay-per-views, none of their pay-per-views are taped. So, this weekend they've got a pay-per-view, and now they've announced this. Anyone could show up this weekend, and I truly believe that the pay-per-view numbers for this Saturday's pay-per-view that they've got on is going to go through the roof now, because you're going to have all the NXT fans now potentially going, holy shit, who's going to show up and Bobby on Uncut, he actually said to me yesterday, he brought up a good point, was in the crowd, obviously they had Masha there on NXT on Tuesday, and Cora obviously had that thing with her. So Masha's got she's actually got a title match on Saturday. So could Cora show up on Saturday at TNA? True. And it's like a Devil's Playground match and stuff like that. So it's like inside a cage, and it's like loads of it's literally a no DQ match. So anyone can show up. So you could have Cora show up, you could have Roxanne show up, you could literally have anyone show up. But I think if anything, we're going to possibly see Cora showing up on Saturday.
Do you know?
TNA.
Do you know if the the regular? Because I don't watch TNA. Do you know if the regular shows and like the PLEs will be like on regular, like, like cable, like Hulu, or like
They're on.
what
Um,
channel?
I think if I remember rightly, because I don't obviously over here we don't actually get it on TV at all. We have to get it through TNA Plus, which is their app. That's the only way, that's the only way which we can watch it if we want to watch it live, or we have to wait like 2 or 3 days to get it over here. But I do believe that TNA are on Access still. I don't know whether you get that over there.
Yeah, I've never heard of Access.
Yeah, it's Access TV. I don't know. Like, I think it's still on there. I think I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if anyone in the comments can fill me in on that one, but I do believe it is that. Yeah, we get that. So TNA Impact, yeah, is on Access TV or Sportsnet 360 and TNA Plus. It says.
Yeah,
That's what it's
yeah.
going to be on. So yeah,
I have the sports network, but I didn't know if it was going to be like on TNT or like
no, they
CW
don't.
or something like that.
No, I think the reason why it's on Access is they part of TNA or something, they own part of Access. They either own part of Access or they own all of Access. Obviously, so it's their own sort of TV network that they put it onto. So, which makes sense, really. You know, if you're going to own a TV channel, you're going to put your own shows on there, aren't you? Really. But yeah, so they're on Access TV, or like I said, or you can download the TNA Plus app, and I think you can get that on laptops, PCs, mobiles and stuff like that, really, to be able to do it, because we've got that one here, or like I said, we've got to wait a couple of days for it to actually go live, or for us to get it on one of the TV channels. And over here, I think the Zone as well. I'm not sure. I know it used to be on the Zone, but I'm not sure whether it still is. Again, I don't know if anyone can fill me in the comments, because I don't actually watch TNA at the moment. For that, and the person who would know, which is my TNA guy, he isn't responding to me. So, well, he hasn't messaged me or anything, so I don't know if he's listening. So yeah, so that's that. So again, good luck to the TNA stars. I can see quite a lot of dream matches, and I don't know how they're going to fit everyone into the Royal Rumble this year. That's all I can say. I really don't know how this Royal Rumble is going to go down, because they're either going to bring in loads of TNA stars to elevate them, meaning that a lot of main roster stars are going to be missing, and we don't get NXT stars potentially in it, or do we get a 40-man Royal Rumble? That's the thing. It's like, do they change it?
Or they could just like some of the legends, that they, because they in the women's and men, sometimes they bring back like Trish or Lita. I mean, obviously, I love they're great, but like they could fill like legend spots with TNA stars or something like that.
Yeah. I've just seen the comments from TJ. Wasn't Roxanne on here? No, she wasn't. She was Ring of Honor beforehand, before he got brought out by Tony Khan. So that was that's that. Because again, you're going to have Jordan Grace come up. You're going to have Joe Hendry in the Rumble and stuff like that. So you've got to get them in there somehow. So yeah, so you're going to have that one there. So that's the news. That took about 40 minutes, because like I said, there was a hell of a lot of news today. But again, it's been a busy news day. So moving on then to the next section, then the ratings, like what we normally do. So this week I've actually got a lovely little graphic which I've got from thanks to WrestleNomics. So there isn't any Raw numbers as per normal, because we don't get them up anymore. So so we'll start at the bottom. So so SmackDown done 1-4 with demo of 0.40. It's all right, 1-4. I mean, they've been getting higher numbers and stuff like that, but yeah, 1-4's all right. AEW Collision, they seem to have gone up as well, which is 337. You've got that one. NXT done 779. And I luckily got this after the Dynamite numbers came in from last night. So AEW Dynamite done 679. So again, NXT completely annihilated AEW in both, in viewership, basically. So yeah, so that was the viewership for this week. Pretty good numbers again for NXT, I do have to say. And I can see potentially now, again, going back to this TNA crossover thing, I can see TNA now hitting the top 150. And we start getting TNA numbers come down, especially if you're getting NXT stars and stuff like that on there. Now you're going to have a lot of the NXT stars joining it, and I could potentially see that at one point, maybe TNA might even overtake AEW at one point.
Oh yeah,
It's some of the ratings, because don't forget, because you'll have the NXT fans, and you'll also now have the TNA fans already. So you've got that basically. So
well,
I don't know.
you,
So,
al-
you
you
agree?
also have to take into consideration that they brought the final boss in on NXT, so that was basically for his daughter's obviously the GM, but that was a ratings jumper right there. Like, everybody knew he was going to be on there, so everybody wanted to watch. And then obviously, they had New Year's Evil, which was fantastic. But
Yeah.
the Rock being on NXT, anybody with a brain can figure out that a lot of those ratings come from the final boss being on NXT.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, well, obviously, this week's one though was obviously those ratings that came down then. That was actually this week's ones. That wasn't obviously the
Okay.
final bosses one. So, I
Okay.
mean, I think
Okay.
they only lost a little bit from last week's ones. I can't remember what it was last week, but yeah,
Oh,
because those
cool.
ones there was actually from this Tuesday night just gone. So yeah, so they still managed to beat AEW even without the Rock on it,
Oh, that's
and stuff
cool.
like that. So yeah. Um, yeah, so what was this? So I'm just looking at the comments. So Monitor Man said, actually, I put it up on the screen. TNA takes over AEW, all is right in the world. So that's correct there.
Mhm.
And then TJ Turner said, The Rock literally said NXT is a place where you want to be. And
Mm.
obviously, we now know that at that point, Dwayne Johnson knew what was going to happen, basically, and that because, of course, he's probably one of the forces behind this to what signed the TNA agreement. So, being as long as
Mhm.
he's on the board, he would have obviously had a massive say in that. So, that's probably why he said that. Um, Again, TJ, I can't wait for the TNA invasion. That definitely sets up Survivor Series. I mean, yeah, that's a possibility now as well. So rather than
Mhm.
just having Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and stuff, you could now potentially have TNA stars invade as well. And maybe at Survivor Series, you have champ versus champ versus champ versus champ. And that like a four way match
That'd
that
be
way.
that'd
So
be great. Yeah.
yeah, that would be which would be pretty cool. Yeah, so that's everything covered. Is there anything else that you can think of for this week, really? That we need to sort of
Are we gonna go
the shows
back
in that were
to
pretty average, really.
yeah? Um,
So,
are we gonna go back to that? I think I got. I don't know if she sent it to you. That the segment we did with the IWC idiots. I had got a
oh yeah, no,
request.
I haven't anything come through.
Yeah, I had got a request, but I can't. My messages are so buried that I thought I told them to send it to you, but I don't
All right,
have
yeah,
it.
no, I haven't got anything come through. So no, no, that wasn't that. So we'll bring that one up for next week. So whoever that was who sent that one through, if you could send it through to me, I will bring that one up for next week. We'll quickly go through then a few bits and pieces because because there's not actually a lot of questions. I've just had a look, but I will get around to them at the end since we've got time. So obviously we did find out this week that CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins have all declared for the Royal Rumble at this time. I can't see them all making it to a Royal Rumble. I can't see them all being in a Royal Rumble match, I should say. At least one of them is going to be at that Royal Rumble match. I can see now. Like they've done it before where people have declared that they're going in for the Royal Rumble and they don't actually show up. And that I can see that potentially happening to Punk for that one there, if anything. That potentially he wins the title before Rumble and that way then he doesn't actually enter it and instead we either get Gunther in the Rumble or we get somebody, or Gunther doesn't show up at all basically for it. Or they set the match up for Royal Rumble that is actually Punk versus Gunther at Rumble instead. That could be the only other option, which it is really. I mean, it's still well, I say it's still early days. We're obviously like 2-3 weeks away, but it's it's something's going to go down. Something's going to go
I,
down. Especially I can see on the 25th,
I
Saturday Night
got
Main
a
Event.
I got a weird feeling, man. You know, I
Mm.
that Punk was supposed to win the title like back at Survivor Series. I think. Obviously, he had to go. He had
Yeah,
got into the Bloodline thing. Um, obviously, main event Jey Uso is my guy. But Triple H, what he did Monday, having Roman beat Solo
Yeah.
and Rhea win, and obviously I felt like Punk was going to win there anyway. But
Yeah.
does Triple H swerve the entire WWE universe and put the title on Jey Uso as Saturday night's main event, which I would love personally as a fan, but if he does that, like for me, that just I don't know. Where do we go from there with Punk and all of that? Like how do we, I don't
Yeah.
I don't know how they would be able to, get to Punk and Rollins for the title, or because Jay would be the champ, and I mean they wouldn't want him to have it for a month and then drop it like he did the IC title. So I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I did bring up in the ATD space the other night that you never know, they could do that. That's possible. That could be possible there for it to go on. For it, and they could give it to Jay, and then should give him a short run. It's yeah, it could happen because again, Goldberg's going to be in the area because he lives 30 minutes away from where they are for Saturday night main event. So I mean, it is possible there. For that one. Money says you did send it. I haven't got it here, Money. I'm checking the messages a minute because it was Money, obviously, who sent it for whatever. I don't know which account you sent it through from, but I don't have it. Not at all. So yeah, that's fine. Now something quite interesting as well that I've seen come down as well actually today, which I will mention as well, is just quickly, whilst it's on my mind because I actually just remembered as I was scrolling through, is Solo. Other people are now actually reporting Solo turning face and joining Monday Night Raw underneath Roman. Now, are they rushing this? To me, they're rushing it. If they do that and they bring that in, and they do bring Solo over to Monday Night Raw as a face already, and he's just acknowledging Roman, that's too early. They've got to, they've got to continue this on somehow and stuff like that. Like with the whole Roman Solo thing, they can't, they can't cut it out this soon. It's got to go to Mania at least, or it's got to go on a little bit longer. To me, it's way too soon. But I mean, it's I don't know what you think, really.
Obviously, I saw you posted in Discord. Obviously, the match was going to be Roman Solo. Obviously, Triple H, changed plans Monday, had Roman win the Ulafala. For like I said, me and you both agreed that wasn't the right call. And now, like, they backed themselves into a corner. And I really felt like over the past 5 to 6 months that this bloodline story has 100% been rushed. And if they have, which Solo did say a long time ago to Tama Tonga, like, if Roman gets it to the father back, like, we're going to acknowledge him. But that doesn't mean he has to do it right away. Like, let it play out. And I feel like they're just, I'm good with it if they decide to do it at a point in time. But if they do it Friday or like next week or at the Royal Rumble or a Mania, like, that's terrible. Like, that's too soon.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is Roman's now not in until the 27th. So Solo's obviously back this Friday. Well, Solo's obviously back tomorrow. So it sort of depends what they're going to do with Solo tomorrow. Is he going to come out? Is he actually just going to come out and acknowledge Roman tomorrow? And then, again, we don't see him then until the 27th when Roman shows up? Or, is Solo going to challenge Roman again? Or, nobody seems to sort of know kind of what's going on after, obviously, the mistake that they made for Monday Night Raw when, with Solo with Solo losing, basically. And now they've basically completely mucked his story up for it. It's
the other thing that I have on that is storyline wise, I think it's awful. Like, I mean, I understand what the Ulafala means. I respect everything about the culture and what it means for Roman and his dad and his uncle and Rock and all that being the high
Yeah,
chief. But Solo literally just put Paul Heyman through a table not that long ago. So you're telling me we're gonna turn right around because TKO was sitting at ringside and decided that
mm,
we got to have the face of Netflix win, and so now
yeah,
we're gonna just gonna turn around and forget everything that Solo did to Roman and the OG bloodline and Paul Heyman
yeah,
and just have him acknowledge him and go right back. Like that's rushing the story and bad booking.
yeah. Definitely is big time, big time. I completely agree with that one, and yeah, they shouldn't really be doing that one. I mean, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, and that goes into people in the comments asking who's Roman facing at WrestleMania. At the minute, it's an absolute shit show. It's a complete mess at the moment. It's from my understanding, it was still meant to be Roman Solo, but it now seems to have maybe changed to Roman Drew. It now could also be Roman Jacob because that was mentioned as well. It's at a minute, it's a complete mess. So I can't really answer that one. It seems to be that since they changed the match result for that Netflix Raw
Mm.
show, that basically it's screwed storylines up again. Basically, so it's a mess. Triple H has done it yet again, where he
Yeah.
screwed shows up. He screwed
Well,
up plans for it. Really?
here's my thing on the Roman match. Like they could have played the story out, like you said, did the Ulafala versus career, but Triple H screwed. TKO. They wanted the face. I love Roman. He's my guy. I got closet full of his merch. I got an OG shirt on right now, and Final Boss in the background. But you you don't have him win there because now they're backed into a corner.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he faces Jacob at Mania, he can't. Roman can't win. You can't have Jacob lose there. So for me, there's only a handful of opponents that Roman could actually face, and that would be
Yeah.
Jacob, Solo, Drew, and
Yeah.
I would say Punk. I don't want that, but I
No.
mean,
The,
or
the
Rock.
thing, yeah. The thing is, though, is whoever wrote in my eyes, and I've seen a lot of people agree with this today as well, is whoever Roman faces at WrestleMania, Roman's going to take the loss to.
He has to.
Because if he faces Drew, Drew will win because it's meant to be the year of Drew and everything like that. So Drew will win. If he faces Solo, Solo will get that win back, and so Solo will win this time rather than them doing it on that Monday Night Raw. I hate to say it, but he's Roman is going to take a loss. I can sense it now that Roman won't be winning at WrestleMania this year. That's just my thing. I mean, if he does, he does. But
I don't.
personally, from the way we're trying to see it and the potential matchups that he's going to be in, Roman's going to be taking the loss at WrestleMania.
I
From
mean, you
personally,
seen Drew whispering in the Rock's ear. The Rock delivered a sword to him. The Rock said in an interview that he feels like Drew's the next big thing. I
yeah,
mean, that could be a precursor. We could, Drew has lost to Roman a couple of times.
yeah,
So if they do it again and they book Roman to win, knowing that Drew McIntyre is supposed to be the guy on SmackDown in 2025, then what are we doing here? Like,
yeah.
why?
It's a mess, isn't it? It's an absolute mess. Yeah. No, I mean, but they've screwed up plans anyway. So whatever they do is just going to be a mess for it. Cam, obviously being a driptologist, saying who is penciled in at the moment to win the men's and women's Royal Rumbles. Women's Charlotte Flair. I do hate to say. It's either going to be Charlotte or Becky, but at the minute I'm still hearing Charlotte. So that they can set up the match with Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania 41. The men's, I'm still hearing no changes to what the original plans were, which will mean Dwayne basically winning it. Potentially using his TKO powers at 31. However, there's also obviously other talks as well of they don't even have Dwayne win the Rumble, and he literally just makes a challenge for the match, and they have someone like Seth and that doing it. Now, I did bring this up again the other night on other places, is if you listen carefully, anybody who's turned around and said, I'm winning the Royal Rumble this year, never wins it. Every year, they never win it. The only time you ever get it is, as I think Bobby said yesterday, and he done a really good impression, was Cody Rhodes obviously turning around and saying, I ain't the story, and that, and sort of doing it that way. But short of that, you never get, you never get them basically doing what they need to do. Basically, that's the thing, and that for it. So, it's. But yeah, so whoever said I'm winning the Royal Rumble, they're not winning the Royal Rumble. Basically, that's going to be the thing. So
I think Charlotte's the right choice. I've been saying it. Like, you can tell by her Twitter, like, or X or whatever. She's coming back as this dark, ominous character. And she's gonna face Tiffany Stratton. If any match is 100% locked, that definitely is gonna happen. On the men's side, if they have John Cena win, I love Cena, what he's done for the company, one of the GOATs, but the man hasn't won a match in like 5 or 6 years. I know it's his farewell tour, but if John Cena wins, I will be absolutely disgusted.
Yeah, and I can see a couple of people in the comments actually saying about things like this as well. Is exactly, TJ. Cody never said he's winning the Royal Rumble, and he won it 2 years in a row. Every single year, all he turned around and said is, "I've got to finish the story," and he never actually said, "I'm winning the Royal Rumble," and he won it 2 years in a row. Paul Heyman turned around and said that Roman's winning the Royal Rumble, so Roman isn't winning it. Punk's turned around and said that he's winning it, so he's not going to win it. John Cena said that he's going to win it, so he ain't going to win it. This is the thing, is anybody who has said, I'm winning the Royal Rumble, never wins it. Unless they're going to pull off the ultimate swerve and do that way, but they ain't. If they're following on from tradition like normal, anybody who has turned around and said, I'm winning the Royal Rumble, will not be winning it. That's the bottom line of it. So at the minute, if you paid close attention, the only person who has said nothing about in a promo and that about winning the Royal Rumble, the only person who said about it is Seth at the moment. He's the only one who hasn't said that he's winning the Royal Rumble. All he's said is that he'll be at WrestleMania. So that's quite interesting. So that could be the thing for Seth to put it off that way, really. So, but yeah, anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. So, because we do need to get off on time because there is another show afterwards. I will just say Retro Neon said Sub-Zero and Sub EVP. So hello, yep. You've joined us at the wrong minute, but you can listen to this one back. So don't forget now to go on to Twitter. I think the link I sent out whilst we were actually on air as well. Kyle Anthony is now going to be doing a Twitter space again on women's wrestling from the part of the main event sections. So that immediately follows this on X. So go and find that one on there. Again, look on my Twitter if need be. I will try and send the link out again after this. Thank you for tuning in again this week. We will be back next Thursday, same time. That's 6 p.m. EST. Or for anyone over in England, that is 11 p.m. GMT. It's pretty late over here considering it's now midnight for me. Did you want to bring anything up or whatever before we go off air or whatever?
No, just thank you to everybody. The first 2 shows, we've topped 100. That's pretty good for a new show. We want to continue to have new ideas, continue to grow, and we thank everybody for showing up and the comments, and keep everybody that comes back each week, and hoping that we can keep this thing going strong up until Mania and past Mania for sure. Thank y'all.
Well, if anyone as well, I will say as well, if anyone does have any suggestions to improve the show or want to bring anything into the show that you want us to talk about, don't hesitate to send me or CJ a message, and we will see what we can do. If it's possible, we'll bring it in. We will be back next week, like I said. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this show, and obviously you'll find our well, you should know our socials by now anyway. And keep an eye out for some amazing stuff from DKO coming soon. I will say that as well. I don't know when it's going to be, but it's going to be coming soon. Something pretty big coming. So thank you once again, and we will see you next week. This is Xero signing out. Don't forget to go over to Twitter now to go and listen to Carl Anthony Space. So yeah, this is Xero signing out for the week.
See you guys next week.
Yep, see you next week. Goodbye.